Hi there everyone, Dan Dix here reporting for Press for Truth, and we have some major developments today in this Canadian war on terror we're all supposed to be afraid of. Now the RCMP have just made some arrests on 3 Canadian individuals for terrorism related offenses. We have Oswo Peshdari of Ottawa, as well as Kedar Khalib and John McGuire. Now, an incredibly important piece of this puzzle, which is people are not really making the connection to, is this very, very important piece of info right here. Undercover informant infiltrated a suspected ISIS recruiting network in Ottawa, leading to the arrest. So these recent arrests are the result of, yet again, another informant who infiltrated this group. And it's looking, guys, like this is another case of coercion, entrapment, another group of young boys being set up. The terrorism charges against 3 suspected members of an ISIS network in Ottawa include 1 count alleging that Kedar Khalib had counseled a man named Abdullah Milton to participate in or contribute to the activities of a terrorist group. But Mr. Milton is not among those charged in Project Servant, the 2-year investigation by the RCMP's Integrated National Security Enforcement Team that disrupted what police called an organized network associated with ISIS. So who is he? Well, right now, Abdullah is in a witness protection, his father said. When asked if he was a police informant, he replied, yes, he was. So we have a police informant acting on behalf of the police here to infiltrate this group. The RCMP said that multiple investigative techniques were used in this investigation. Well, I would imagine that one of those techniques was the Mr. Big technique. And if you don't know what that is, let me just lay it out here for you. This is from the Civil Liberties Association. The Mr. Big tactic is a specific type of undercover police operation. Police target a suspect, befriending him or her, and slowly involving the suspect into activities of a fictitious criminal organization. The suspect is given financial rewards and friendship, with the promise of more money and support to come. Eventually, he or she is introduced to the crime boss, Mr. Big, who then must approve the suspect's involvement, and he presses him or her for a confession to this unsolved crime. Now here's the important part. These suspects confess to Mr. Big during pointed interrogations in the face of powerful inducements and sometimes veiled threats. So in short, it is an inherently coercive process that can result in false confessions. Introducing the confession in court also necessarily involves detailed testimony of the suspect's willingness to commit other crimes and join a criminal organization, information that can easily prejudice a jury against the accused. So this is just an example of some of the police tactics that we're seeing them use in order to set up, coerce, and entrap these young men. It goes on to say here, it would not be surprising if they had used an informant. The investigation into the Toronto 18 terror group broke up in 2006, involved 2 informants, both members of the Muslim community who cooperated with CSIS and the RCMP and testified as witnesses. Well, we covered that one extensively, guys. We showed how back in 2006 those guys were completely set up by a CSIS informant. He totally entrapped these young men, set them up, took them out to this training facility with paintball guns and pulled off one of these Mr. Big sting operations. And the front page of every single newspaper back then was just saying terrorism has arrived, terrorism is here, and it's the same kind of propaganda that we're seeing right now all over the place. So, it really feels like we're being conditioned for an attack here, that the government and the intelligence communities are really trying to convince people that there is this looming threat that we all have to be afraid of right now. But of course, the real threat that we need to be worried about right now is, the people in government who are responsible for the terrorists, the people who are funding, supporting, training, arming the Islamic State in Syria. And we're apparently fighting them in Iraq, though. So I think the people we really ought to be concerned about here are the globalists who are actually creating the terror and then instituting all this legislation that just takes away our own freedoms right here at home. So anyways, guys, just something I wanted to point out today. This is looking like it's yet again another setup by the RCMP and by the Canadian Security Intelligence Service to entrap and coerce these young men so that they can convince Canadians that we have to be afraid of the big bad boogeyman ISIS, and therefore we must give up all of our civil liberties. Anyways, that's all for today, folks. Just wanted to bring that one to your attention. Be sure to subscribe to us here on YouTube if you haven't already. And check the link in the description to where you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And you can show your support to Press for Truth by becoming a PFT patron. And you can sign up at patreon.com/pressfortruth. Or you can become a member of our website. And stay tuned, guys. We're going to have a lot more video reports coming very soon to pressfortruth.ca.